Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar on the Remote Expert Assistant on LEDs, the REAL. Before we start, I would like to ask you to please turn off your cameras and microphones during the webinar. Carishma and Rodrigo, thank you for being with us today and for having accepted the invitation to present this webinar on REAL, the no-cost advisory technical assistance service offered by the LEDS Global Platform and the Europe and Eurasia LEDS Platform. The REAL service is available to assist government representatives and technical institutes in advancing climate-resilient low-emission development and achieving mitigation commitments. Therefore, this webinar will introduce participants to how this no-cost service works on issues such as eligibility, requirements, available expert assistance, timings, etc., and on how registered members to the Europe and Eurasia LEDS platform can benefit from it. Regarding our presenters, we have Carishma Gokhale-Welch, who is a project leader within the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in Colorado, the United States. Her work focuses on providing technical assistance to developing country governments with clean energy planning and strategy. Also, we have with us Rodrigo Rodriguez, specialist on sustainable development. He is a former member of the steering committee of the UN International Resource Panel in 2016, former president of the LEDS-EEP Platform in 2017, and currently he works as a consultant for governments and institutions in Latin America, among others. Dear participants, this webinar is being recorded and will be published in our website for any further need. If you have any questions during the presentation, please write them on the chat box located in the right column of the screen, so that the presenters can respond to them at the end of the presentation. Please remember to turn off your cameras and microphones during the webinar. Thank you so much for your attention. Now, my colleague Thor will make a very short introduction to the activities of the LEDS-EEP for 2018. Please, Thor, whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much, Carmen. I hope that my audio is heard properly. Before we start, welcome everyone to the LEDS-EEP Remote Expert Assistance on LEDs. We wanted to make a short introduction to the LEDS-EEP work activities and services before we pass on to the real deal for today. This year, among the several things we're focusing on, we have the following highlights, as you can see in the slide. The communities of practice of the Europe and Eurasia platform. A community of practice is a collection of individuals from a shared sector or a working area who form a group to regularly engage in peer-to-peer learning to improve their personal and collective group knowledge. Generally speaking, international communities of practice can address several social, economic, financial, market, and political shortcomings by facilitating deeper technical collaboration and also facilitating peer-to-peer learning on the design and implementation of a specific low-emission development strategies, the famous LEDs. The mission of the communities of practice for our platform will be to assist countries of Europe and Eurasia to design and implement successful climate-compatible development strategies. And we will do so by creating a member-driven practitioner network. Currently, we have just finalized the consultations in a first stage with our steering committee members and in a second stage with the members of the platform. And we are currently processing all the feedback and comments so to make the next step to form the first COPs. Every member of the platform will be able to participate to it and will be adequately informed. So if you want to become a member, just go to our website and click the join. Registering as a member is completely free, and it will give you access to participate to the communities of practice as well as to the real service that Carishma and Rodrigo will be presenting in a few minutes. Another important thing that we're doing right now is the City Energy Planning Toolkit. Last year, we organized a webinar program on tools and methodologies for municipal and regional energy planning. And since then, we have been working on the elaboration of a city energy planning toolkit. Straight to the point, the main objectives of this toolkit will be to provide a brief overview of city energy planning processes, of key tools, implementation options, service procurement guidance, and available resources in the region. And number two, it will help raise the visibility of energy modelers in the region and facilitating the creation of a regional network of urban energy planning practitioners. This second point is very important because it will act as a sort of a regional yellow pages of energy modelers to know who is who and who does what in all of the countries of the region. So it will be a very interesting way to connect and see who and where is the expertise. The target audience will be focused on employees of municipalities responsible for city planning and energy sector issues, energy consultants, students, and NGOs. And besides that, as usual, we will be delivering the newsletter where you can find the news, the events, not only that we make, but that are important in the region, such as forums, conferences, webinars, etc. We ourselves will be, as usual, delivering webinars, both live and then uploading the recordings to our website. And for this year, we have planned a couple of webinar programs on the issues of energy and climate performance of the built environment and on the issues of smart cities in general. And well, now to the real service for which most of you are here. So, Carishma, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Thor. Thank you, Carmen. I'll just dive right in. Well, so what is REAL? It's a remote expert assistance on low emissions development strategies. It's basically a short-term technical assistance service that's provided at no cost to developing country governments. And it really is intended, it's to help advance LEDs primarily through remote means. So how it works is LEDS-EEP has a network of almost 100 regional and international experts on topics covering finance, energy, transport, subnational integration, co-benefits, and then agriculture, forestry, and land use. And, you know, we try to typically limit this to 40 hours of an expert's time. So it's about 1 week of work. But if it is a larger need that a country has, we try to also match make with other technical assistance programs. So we may be able to provide additional expertise also. The next slide provides some examples. So what does this look like what does this look like when a government asks for assistance? It could include phone or online consultations if it's just a quick question. It could include email exchanges to provide technical assistance or assessments. We can help connect you to other countries, so to facilitate peer-to-peer learning and exchanges. We can review documents, compile information, and also help matchmake if it's a larger need that we actually cannot provide the assistance. We help matchmake with other donors or programs that can help provide a larger assistance. And the hope is that it results in a new or improved policy for the country, maybe new investment measures, strategic plans that eventually help support low emissions development goals in the country. So, and I should also note, I had mentioned a few topics earlier, but if you have a need that goes beyond those topics, we can definitely help coordinate with other agencies to help provide that assistance. So as you can see on the slide, I've listed some, I can read it out. We provide guidance on policies and programs for implementing LEDS activities, tools and methods for assessing baselines, technologies, and policy options, including strategies and measures for public-private investment, and then also help trying to link maybe national and subnational policies in the LEDS process. even communicating with your stakeholders, impacts and benefits of your strategies. And then if there is a need for longer term support, which REAL typically does not provide because it's the short-term remote assistance, we can help try to identify other partners that may be able to provide that assistance. So the next slide, who can actually access REAL? Any developing country, national or subnational government. Often there are technical institutions working with the government, so we can help provide them as long as the need is coming from the government and the government wants this assistance. If it's a nonprofit or technical institution, we can also provide that assistance. LEDS has provided so far about more than 50 requests from over 25 countries. And last year in 2017, I'd say we provided help to at least 15 countries. This is no cost to the country. And some examples are included in the next slide, which we can go over really quickly. Bangladesh, LEDS-EEP assisted the Sustainable and Renewable Energy Development Authority in providing guidance and policy examples for net metering for their rooftop solar policy. So they knew they want to do this, but they just wanted a little bit of assistance and guidance. What does this look like in other countries? And so LEDS-EEP experts help provide that assistance. The government of Zambia last year was looking, they already have these national climate and renewable energy policies, but they want to go the next step and actually implement these. So what kind of strategies, what do the action plans look like? So we provided this service where LEDS-EEP experts collaborated with the Ministry of Environment, Water and Climate to develop a LEDS strategy planning document. That also helped them identify all the different stakeholders, how to engage them, and how to make them aware of this process. In Jamaica, this is an ongoing request. We're currently providing assistance in reviewing draft policies to provide insight and guidance on a national bioenergy policy, including providing some policy case examples of how does this look like in other countries, internationally, and then also trying to help identify local needs and providing guidance. And again, currently the government of Uruguay is looking for information on promotion mechanisms and regulatory schemes for incorporation of energy storage and on-demand management. So they want to see what other countries are doing, what are some of the storage trends, and how can they implement in their country. And I guess this brings us to the next couple of slides. So Emmanuel Longo couldn't be here for the South Sudan, so I'll present that. And then the next one will be Rodrigo from Argentina. So in South Sudan, we had a request from the Ministry of Transport to help with, they needed help with their transportation policies. They really wanted a peer exchange and case study development. They want to learn about what other countries have done to align their national level transport policies with other international initiatives. So LEDS-EEP transport experts, they help develop these case studies of Bhutan and Uganda, highlighting how these countries had developed their national transport policies to align with other international initiatives. And those case studies also helped identify the barriers to implementing the proposed policies and also highlighted the lessons learned from the success and failures, or just some challenges these countries faced. And the second piece of it that we're currently trying to coordinate is an actual phone conversation, trying to connect these peer experts from these different countries, just to see what worked for them, what didn't work for them. So with that, I will hand it off to Rodrigo to speak a little bit about Argentina. And just to provide some background, Rodrigo is one of the LEDS-EEP experts, and he provided the assistance. So you can get a perspective from an expert. So we got a request from Argentina, and Rodrigo helped provide that service. Rodrigo, all yours.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
hear you perfectly, Rodrigo.
Okay, thank you. Hi to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank LEDS Europe and Eurasia Platform, and specifically to Thor and Carishma for organizing the webinar. Actually, I would like to share our experience on real assistance because it was very useful. I think it is a very interesting case to consider. It started with a discussion with the Ministry of Energy of Argentina through the Undersecretariat of Energy Efficiency. They requested technical support for designing a guide for efficient management of freight transportation. We started exploring possible ways to collaborate with them and possibilities to finance that technical support. And we considered the idea of applying for real assistance. First of all, there was some kind of reluctancy from the ministry because, as you may know, many times the cooperation processes are bureaucratic and takes a lot of time, sometimes many months to design terms of reference and that. And since you start applying until you have something concrete, it takes maybe a semester. So it was our surprise because we established contact with the group of LEDS-EEP, and the response was very quick. They just asked for email from the authority, from the ministry to start the process of application. And I think it took at last, I don't know, maybe 1 week. We started designing the terms of reference along with the technical group of the Ministry of Energy. We composed a technical group with Paula Melissa Cruz Moreno. She's a Colombian engineer, expert in transportation, and myself. We started the process designing the terms of reference. After we had it consented with the group of the Ministry of Transportation, we sent it to the LEDS Real Assistant team. After a quick review, maybe I took, I don't know, 48 hours, 72 hours, as much. They made some observations to that. We corrected the work plan, and it took in total, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 weeks to have the okay to start working. We worked for 30 days approximately to design the guide. And after that, we have some meetings with the group of the Ministry of Energy, and we made a consultation with the Ministry of Transportation, those that are in charge of the Smart Weight project in Argentina, which is a project aligned with this guide, but is promoted by the Ministry of Transportation in Argentina. The total process took, since the beginning until we had the guide, maybe 6 to 7 weeks. And after approving the final document, the Ministry of Energy designed it like the most aesthetic issues of the guide. And we had the opportunity to present the guide at the second annual summit for energy efficiency organized by the Chief of Staff of the Presidency of Argentina and the Minister of Energy last December. The guide was very well received. We had more than 2,000 downloads of the guide from the website of the Ministry of Energy. They started last February the implementation of a pilot project in 4 private companies that will be monitored and evaluated on the impacts of the guide. We also, at the guide, made a brief estimation on the potential benefits of adopting the different suggestions and tools that we are promoting, and they were very happy about having a sense on what could be the possible impact, the economic impact, and in mitigation and fuel savings of each suggestion of policy or technology that we proposed. To wrap up, some key highlights of this experience. First of all, the agility. It was a very interesting, agile, and non-bureaucratic process, and the team of LEDS-EEP was very quick on reviewing the documents and giving the observations and approving the process. So it is a very important feature of this cooperation line. Secondly, the flexibility. It was tailored by demand. We adjust the proposal to the needs of the Ministry of Energy. We were not selling our own product, trying to fit it on their demand, but we heard what we wanted, what we really needed, and tried to give them exactly what they were looking for. And third, it was a concrete, useful, and practical contribution to climate action because it was very, very concrete, the tool, and it is very easy to expand and disseminate on the sector, on the freight transportation sector, to adopt the guide. For any questions that you may have, I am open to discuss, and I prefer to stop here to have more space for questions and answers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Sorry, Carmen. Generally speaking, to finalize, as it was mentioned by Carishma, to access the real service within our platform, you can directly consult me, Tor Morante. There is my email, tmorante@reg.org, or to the email casakevicius@reg.org. We're working here at the Secretariat. Also, most certainly, you can reach Carishma email address that is posted on the slide. And the idea is for us to pretty much redirect all the process and to find the corresponding expert if the service is required. One of the main things that need to be remembered is that this is a service for members of the platform. Therefore, it is necessary for you to become a member. Nothing big about it. It's merely to have a registry. Membership can be done. It is to be done free of charge, and it only takes a couple of minutes in which you simply tell us well, your name, your data, your institution, and your field of specialization, because the whole idea of the platform is to increase the network of expertise, and for this network to little by little start helping each other to advance on the development of low emission strategies. And with that, we can pass on to the questions. If you have any, please state them in the chat box. The first question is for either Carishma or Rodrigo. Could you give us an example of the main challenges that you may have faced during real implementation?
Okay, so I can speak a little bit from my perspective, and then Rodrigo, if you have any example, I'll welcome you after I finish. So basically, sometimes what happens is when we get a request from a country, it's not very well, like they may not exactly know what they want as a end product, or they may not say we need a report or a PowerPoint presentation, or the scope may be too big to fit into 40 hours of expert assistance. So sometimes we have to go back and forth on email, or maybe even have a phone conversation to find out exactly what the need is, and then match them with an expert. And then in case of actual implementation, sometimes we found that maybe there's not the data is not available, or challenges like that. But because this is a member-driven process, it's a demand-driven process, often it's something that a country is trying to get a response for, and we're able to match with an expert or another country. So I'll just stop right there. Rodrigo, if you want to add, or I see other questions coming too also.
Just a quick comment. First of all, yes, trying to understand the need of the institution that is requesting technical support, and trying to design adequately the scope is a challenge. And when designing or providing the technical support, what I think is very important is to consider properly the previous work that was done on that field. You know, we really think that peer-to-peer dialogue and cooperation is key for climate action. So contacting experts from other countries and other institutions and ask them about the state of the art on the work that you are doing is key for the work. I think it's just a quick comment and sharing my thought on this. Thank you.
Okay, we have another question. Well, and it's also an offering. Thank you very much for the webinar. I am interested in providing my assistance and becoming part of your roster of experts. Could you please explain how does that work?
Sure. Thank you for that question. So if you could, my contact information was on the slide. You can also just email directly from the LEDS-EEP or contact Thor. But basically, if you could send me, Carishma, if you could send me your resume, we're always looking for international and regional experts, you know, but we have to make sure that it's a good balance and we don't already have many people working on the same topic. But if you could send me your resume along with, you know, your expertise, either in a specific region or international expertise, along with some topic areas and themes specifically that you have expertise in the low emissions development space, I will be in touch with you and we can add you to our roster of experts. I hope that answers the question. And then I see another question. Thor, yes. Should I just go to the...
I can read it for the sake of following the pattern. Is there a possibility to have longer expert assistance, so to speak, more than 40 hours engagement?
Okay, so thank you for that question. Yes and no, I guess. So, you know, we always try to provide what the member wants. And so typically we try, it's a quick response service, right? So that's the bulk of our service help technical assistance is say between 20 to 40 hours. However, we have partnered with other agencies like the Center for the Solution Center or GIZ Help Desk, and with other service providers to do additional more than 40 hours. So we match make with other groups if there is a need. And if our resources are not sufficient, we will try to get assistance from others. So for example, even the Bangladesh assistance, we teamed up with the Solution Center to provide 60 to 80 hours of expert assistance. So yes, for sure, that is a possibility depending it's case specific, and it's definitely something we consider.
Okay, thank you very much, Carishma. I don't know if there are more questions, but what are usually the fields of action? I mean, how open is it on the themes regarding the expertise that is available?
So it's pretty broad. In general, we focus on the 6 areas that LEDS-GP has expertise on, right? Finance, energy, benefits, subnational integration, transport, and AFULU, and I think I'm missing one. No, maybe I got them all. But however, that said, if it does fall outside our expertise, we again will matchmake with other groups to help provide that. So there are a few other services provided by different organizations, like Clean Energy Solutions Center, like GIZ Help Desk. There's NDC cluster organizations. There's the Climate Action Networks, CTCN. And so if it's something that doesn't fall squarely in LEDS-GP's expertise, we'll matchmake with another organization.
Okay, I see. Another question that we have received is there a database of the consultancies of the service that has been previously provided to other countries? For example, in the case of Rodon, they are developing a net metering scheme on the moment. Is there like a free access to this expertise that has already been provided and developed?
Yes, so thank you for that question. That's a great question. So, the bulk, we are actually also very interested in providing that peer-to-peer exchange and peer learning. And so if country governments are okay with us sharing our report, we put it on our website. So if you go to the Energy Working Group section on the LEDS-GP website, you can access all the work we've done. Specifically, if you don't find what you're looking for, please feel free to reach out to me, and we can either A, help provide that expertise, B, help you connect with a country that you want to learn more from, or or both, or some combination of that. So yes, you can access this on our website. If they've agreed to share it, we're always sensitive to what countries want allowing to share or not. But if we do have permission to share, we do put it up on our website. So I hope that answers the question. But if you don't find what you're looking for, please feel free to reach me.
Okay, thank you, Carishma. And finally, the main issue regarding getting the real services for it to be coming from a public institution or from an institution that is working alongside or on an issue of public institutions, right?
Yes, that's right. We do provide assistance to the governments. Like we look for that. We're helping support governments in promoting their policies or developing or enhancing their current policies. But we understand that there are technical institutions that help governments, and so that's completely okay as long as the need and ask is coming from the government.
Okay, and there is a question: how many times can a country benefit from the real service? Is there a limit?
No, actually, and we have, and I should have mentioned that even though we try to keep the scope limited to about 40 hours, so it's pretty tight scope, you can definitely request follow-on service. So if you feel, so for instance, this has happened, so we may help provide guidance on a policy. And like in Jamaica, for instance, we're providing that guidance. The idea is they will go take this guidance, go and develop their guide. We don't actually write any policy. So we provide the guidance. The government of Jamaica will develop their policy and write the policy. And then they'll come back to us to review that policy. So that would be considered a second request or second provision of technical assistance. And, we've provided that multiple times. So no, there's no limit. But we stay away from like project specific, like we try, the idea is this technical assistance is not for a specific project, but it is more to impact the policy in a country. If that distinction, I just want to make that distinction clear. It's less to just help with one project and more for the policy. So if that project helps toward the policy, sure. Like if it's a case study example or if it's a pilot project and that actually helps to develop that policy, great. But we stay away from just like one-off project development.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Carishma. I don't know if there are any other questions, but if there are none, maybe Carishma or Rodrigo, if you want to make a final comment.
Yeah, thank you, Thor. I guess one last point is, if you don't have questions right away, you may have questions later when you go back. You may speak to your colleagues. Please feel free to pass on the word. You may not have a specific need, but your colleague may. So if you have questions later, please feel free to reach me. I think there just was another question, Thor, if you want to read that one.
Is there any scenario that you can be invited to participate in workshops in the host country?
Yes, I mean, so as exceptions, we will, this is typically intended to be a remote assistance. There is, instances where we have partnered with other countries or sponsored other participants. So I think the question is asking if an expert can come to your country. Is that right? Can that expert travel to a workshop? Is that right? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, yes. And in that case, we like to keep it a regional expert, if at all possible. Sometimes, an expert may be already traveling to the country for another reason or another, and so we try to coordinate that. So I would say that as an exception, yes, we could try to support that, but typically we try to keep it remote assistance.
Okay, perfect.
And I guess I just want to add that if that impact cannot be provided through remote means, we will consider allowing that travel if it's really impactful. Like if it's absolutely necessary for the expert to travel, we have considered that in the past, and we will consider it on a case-by-case basis.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Carishma. Well, I think that, as Carishma mentioned, if there are any further questions, you can contact us to the emails that are on the screen right now. Moreover, if you want to review the issues here, you can. This webinar, as it was stated at the beginning, has been recorded and will be uploaded to our website. Moreover, there is information on the real service in the LEDS-EEP website. And the only thing, just a reminder, you should also join the Europe and Eurasia Platform as members. Just go to our website at LEDS-EEP. I will write it in the chat box in a second. And with that said, Carishma, Rodrigo, thank you very much for having given us a little bit of your time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for organizing, and we really look forward to further engagement with the Europe and Eurasia partnership.
Most certainly. Thank you very much, Carishma, and to everyone, thank you very much for attending. Have a good day.
Thank you.